Good morning, Daybreak fans, and welcome to a new episode with Chris Bones Jones. Today's an exciting day because we're going to be taking off this old Minn Kota and updating my old boat with a new trolling motor. All right, before we start any project, especially dealing with electronics, we want to make sure that we're disconnecting our wires from our battery terminals so that we don't have any power going to the system, so we don't short out any breakers, or we don't short out any of our electronics. So let's go ahead and let's get these disconnected. Now, if you notice, I made sure to label these wires that go to this battery with yellow tape. It's important because I want to make sure they stay separate from these wires to this battery. It's also going to be important later on because we're going to be adding a battery to this system. Okay, so make sure that you keep a record of, and I take a picture of what wires go to what battery, and make sure you know which battery is your starting battery and which battery runs your trolling motor. That's important because we're going to be adding a trolling motor today, and we're going to be running 2 batteries in series, so that this way we can get 24 volts. Now that we've disconnected our battery and we're safe to work on our electronics, we're going to go ahead and take off the front panel where our wires are so that we can go ahead and disconnect the old trolling motor from the power, and then we can also disconnect the foot pedal, and we can get the new electronics ready to go in. All right, guys, now that we've gone ahead and got the front panel off, what I like to do is go ahead and gather the screws and put them in a bag and label them. This way I know what screws go to what panel or what area that I'm working on. I also went ahead and took the time to tape and label the wires that I disconnected from the tilt switch. This way later on I'm not confused and I don't hook it up wrong or short anything out. It's important that we take these steps just so that you don't get lost later down the road. I also recommend taking some photos or video of what you're taking apart. This way you can go back to it for reference, and it'll help you in the future. You may not be able to finish the project in one day, and sometimes it's months before you can come back and finish a project if you don't have all the supplies or if you hit a dead end. So it's a good time to do this now, and I'll go ahead and continue to do that throughout the video. And now let's go ahead and we're going to move on to taking out the foot pedal, and then we're going to go ahead and start taking off the trolling motor. All right, we just got that foot pedal out. There was just some debris in that screw, and we had to take a drill bit and just kind of clean it out to get it out. We're going to move on to the next step, which is taking off this trolling motor. All right, now that we're done with taking the trolling motor off the mount, we're going to go ahead and move on to the difficult part of the job. The difficult part of the job is trying to access the nuts to the back side of these screws to remove the mount. There's a very small entrance for you to work with in the bass tracker. This is a aluminum hole, so there's no other way to access these bolts other than through this small opening. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what we're working with here at the same time.
So if you see, we get past the wires, let's get past the gunk, and inside here is bolts somewhere. So we won't know what size they are until I try to get a fitting for them. All right, let's see if we can't. So close. So close. Oh man. That's gonna be a tight fit, guys. I think I'm gonna have to find a different size wrench. Oh man, that's gonna be tough, guys. All right, well, we found out that the larger wrench does not work, so we definitely had to go with the medium size and just stick your arm all the way down into the cavity. I found it easier to get out of the boat. Then we went ahead and had to take off the cover to the Minn Kota, which was pretty rusted on, so we used some WD-40, and that's once you get stuck on a bolt, just stop and spray it, because you're just going to strip it and you're going to get dead in the water in your project. So let's go ahead and see if this is free. And she is. And we are now officially ready to install the new Lowrance Ghost. And the Lowrance Ghost has arrived. Okay, fans, we got the Lowrance 47-inch Ghost inside. I'm so glad that it finally got delivered. We're going to go ahead and take a look inside the box and see what we have. All right, it seems like everything came in order and nothing looks damaged as far as the packaging. We've got, of course, the manuals. That's good. These are in English. And we have our propeller. It looks like it came in good shape. Oh man, this is beautiful. You need to check this out. We did a good job with the packaging. Let's see what we've got inside. Oh, she's a heavy girl. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Lowrance Ghost with foot pedal. And of course we have our mounting gear in these boxes. And this looks like we have this is our hydraulic. The hydraulic is used with the weight to help you lift the trolling motor in and out of the water, which is going to be nice. Since my surgery, I've been lifting up the old Minn Kota, and I'll tell you what, it's after you do that about 20-30 times in an afternoon, by 1 o'clock, you're already starting to get pretty exhausted. So this is going to help out a lot, and I think that's going to be a well upgrade. This just has a stabilization bar. Ooh, another Lowrance sticker. I wonder what we're going to put that on. And then we've got, of course, our strap that goes in here. And then inside this box, we have our mounting bracket and trolling arm. So that control arm will lift the trolling motor inside and out of the boat. And that'll also lock it in place. It's got a nice handle. So these handles right here, this is a good upgrade, because I'll tell you, I've gone through, me and my buddies, when you're in a pinch, we've used everything from paracord to, I've used electrical cord, anything that you can grab when your trolling motor line snaps and you're in a bind. But anyways, this trolling motor comes with a heavy duty braided line, which is also coated. Who knows how long the coating's gonna last? Because when it comes to Chris Bones Jones, when I buy something, I use it. You'll see my boat is scuffed up and used and abused, and that's the way my father taught me, and his father taught him, that if you're gonna buy something, use it until it's obsolete and it doesn't work anymore. So what's also nice about this trolling motor is it's got a shock absorber inside of it. So that's also gonna help with the bouncing. It's also got a heavier casing that is supposed to help with a quieter motor when it's running. So you're not alerting the fish as much. It's got a lot more settings as far as the speed. And I'm super excited because this trolling motor also works with the new Lowrance HDS fish finder that will also show you the install with, and of course the Active 2 forward scan. And it'll also have in this specific model of Lowrance, this has the down scan and the side scan. And I also have the 3-in-1 transducer that came with the Lowrance HDS that's going to go in the back, which gives me the down scan, side scan, and the active view down scan. And then I'll also have an adaptation onto this episode, which will be installing the other part, which is the active, the Lowrance Active 2 forward-facing scan, which that I've installed a pole on the boat. I should have waited to record that, but it's just 3 screws. I'll show you guys a little highlight video on that, on how to mount all this stuff. So I'm super excited to show you guys how to install this. I think we're ready to move on, and talk is cheap. Let's get outside, and I'm gonna go ahead and start the install with the boat. So I'm gonna clean up the front of the boat a little bit, and once I get to a point where I can't lift certain things anymore, or I need a hand holding it, I will have either one of my good friends come over, or even my wife, who's extremely handy. She'll come out, and she's put together a lot of things with me, and a lot of things for me, and we'll put this thing together. So stay tuned, and I hope you guys are enjoying the show. All right, it's a beautiful morning out here. It's nice and cool. It's the perfect day to go ahead and install our Lowrance Ghost. We're going to go ahead and start with base mount. That also has the swing arm, which is going to allow us to lift the trolling motor in and out of the water and secure it to the boat. Let's go ahead and get our tools out. We're going to get our hardware out, and we're going to get started.
Now that we've unboxed all of our nuts and bolts, and we've laid them out on the deck of the boat, and we've arranged them so that we make sure that we have all the pieces and parts that were supposed to come with the project, so that we know that we're not missing anything. I also made sure to separate and only open the pieces that were needed for the beginning part of the project, so that this way I'm not cross-contaminating and ending up with the wrong bolt in the wrong spot. I think we've all been there where we got 3/4 of the way done with a project, realized we put the wrong bolt back in the beginning of the project. We need it, so we have to strip the project down, start over. Okay, so inside the box there was a strap that's important. It came with the Lowrance so that it holds the trolling motor down when it's in its resting position, when you're on the highway, when you're bumping across the lake, when you're moving around and loading the boat, so that this way it doesn't disengage on accident and then fall forward and break the trolling motor. So we're going to go ahead and put this down first. I like to put it in place, make sure that the strap and the Velcro is clear, and then I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of tape and I'm going to tape it in spot. I'm going to tape it here in place. So that one, I don't forget it. Two, it doesn't move out of place while I'm working, and I don't have to worry about it getting caught on anything. So now that we have our strap in place, we can just Velcro this down so it's out of the way. And we can start with the trolling motor. All right, we're going to go ahead and slide the mount over in place. It is heavy, so just be careful not to scratch your paint job. And you're going to want to make sure that we're putting this kind of in place first before we open it up. Now on this base, there is a safety latch over here that you'll need to unlock in order to... Okay, so one thing I just learned when I was trying to shut this safety latch is here for when you're installing it, and you can't shut this completely to put the motor on without flipping this down and then pulling this switch, just like how we unlocked it. Now, once we put the motor in place, this switch is overridden by the weight, I guess, and it no longer locks the motor in place. But when you take the trolling motor off, this latch then re-engages and keeps this from going loose on the highway. Now that we put our washers in place the best we could, they are still going to shift a little bit because this is so heavy, but let's go ahead and line this up, make sure that the tip is past the front of the boat far enough. The bolt should line up with the previous. With most of these manufacturers, if they don't, you'll have to drill some more, but we're going to go ahead and take our Phillips head. This is, like I said, number 4 Phillips head, which is a thicker Phillips head. Okay, so we're gonna do those. We're gonna do those last to do them all the way in, because that one actually goes into the hole. So we got one bolt in, and we've got a middle bolt in here. So we just gotta line up and get these back bolts just right. It looks like see what I was saying with the washers, guys? Even after gluing them down, they still move a little bit. So you just kind of grab something and push them back into place. If you don't get them into place, you can't get the screw through. So now we've got that screw.
Okay, we're finally gonna get to mount our trolling motor onto the bracket. All we're gonna do is just simply lift it up, put it into place, and then I'm gonna put the bolts in that secure it. I have my lovely wife here to give us a hand because it's heavy, and we're just gonna do this on whenever you're ready. 1, 2, and 3. Lift it up. Nope, down. Down, down, down. We gotta go down. And then we have it almost completely in place. All right, we have it in place now. All right, now that we've got our Lowrance Ghost installed, we did put in the foot pedal. It was the same 3 screws in the same spot as the previous pedal. It took only a few moments to go ahead and set that in the same spot and just screw it down. Then what we did for the power is we had the previous power from the Minn Kota that was running to its plug here that was mounted. We went ahead and cut that plug loose because it was burnt up, and I've never disconnected my Minn Kota in all the years I've had the boat from the power. So I just went ahead and hardwired the power and the ground directly into the previous power and ground wires. What I did was I just made sure that I twisted the wires, and then I soldered them together, and then I went ahead and wrapped them and then put on the shrink wrap sealer so that it's waterproof. Super tight. It's a direct connection, so I don't have to worry about it coming loose. I don't have to worry about it corroding, and I think that this is a better connection. Now that we've got the power and this thing is fired up, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step, which is going to be the NMEA 2000 system, where we're going to set up the HDS Lowrance. We're also going to set up our different sensors, which are going to be the forward-facing scan, the transducer for the back that also has the down scan, the side scan, and we're going to get everything linked up also to the puck, which is going to give us our GPS coordinates. So this is going to be a full system that we're going to finish. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little longer, but I really think that we covered some good ground on how to actually get the old trolling motor out, get a new trolling motor in, put in the proper hardware, and then we're going to move on to actually setting up the system. I hope you guys enjoyed, and you have a great day.